Hello plant lovers and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in again, and this week it is Dendrobium nobile blooming time. And this beauty is Dendrobium Euryalus. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'll put the name across the screen. It is a beauty, and I have to say that the fragrance is delicious. It's sort of a light lilac-y fragrance. It is very beautiful. Basic care details, because I think, plant lovers, that I have got my Dendrobium game on. Finally, I've had this beauty for a couple of years, and this is the best year to date because I've finally learned how to look after it properly, and I'm now going to share that with you. There are many sorts of dendrobiums from many parts of the world. This is the Nobile type, which is called a soft cane dendrobium. The other dendrobiums need different sorts of care, so we'll just focus on Nobile for the moment. I did make a video about Australian dendrobiums called Kingianum, which I will just link here. Similar, but actually quite different care instructions. So let's start with Nobile. Firstly, let me give you a geographical sense of where I am. I'm in Melbourne, southeast Australia, which is climatically equivalent-ish to a zone 10 in the US and parts of southeast England. Ish. So Melbourne has cold, wet winters which don't freeze. It can often get to nearly 0 degrees Celsius, but it doesn't freeze generally in the city. And the summers can be hot and erratic. It can be very dry. It can be quite hot, over 40 degrees Celsius, which is I think over 110 Fahrenheit. But it can also be tropically wet almost sometimes in Melbourne now because the climate is changing a lot. So cool, temperate, that's our climate. And this baby lives outside all year. Asterix, with some protection. It is undercover, so it gets filtered light, and it is protected from heavy rainfall because you don't want them to get wet at certain times of the year, but we'll get into that. So you know where I am, and you know that this baby lives outdoors and it is very happy. Dendrobiums can take quite cold temperatures because, plant lovers, the thing that sets the flowers off is seasonal change in temperature. So what this orchid needs is a cool rest in winter with sunlight and no water. If you're growing it outside, the ideal spot then is filtered light, but in winter it will need direct sunlight, and it needs that direct sun in winter to stimulate the canes to produce the flower buds. So winter light is important. Dappled shade in the warmer weather is very important also, so you don't burn the leaves. Also in winter, you need to give it a dry spell, basically. So ease off the watering completely and the food. However, I always feel slightly cruel and like a bad parent if I deny the orchids water all winter. So I do actually spritz and mist it about the roots a little bit just to give it a bit of moisture once in a while, or a little drop of water if it's a particularly sunny and quite warm winter's day. But essentially, ease off your regular watering period completely. So what this orchid really needs to bloom is the change in temperature in winter, winter sunlight, and a dry, foodless winter. And voila, you will get blooms. The other quirk about soft cane dendrobiums is that as the cane ages, they become deciduous. And you can see here on this one that it has lost all its leaves. Now that doesn't mean the cane is dead, nor does it mean that cane can't flower. It might just surprise you and ping out some blooms in the spring. Don't trim any canes that have lost their leaves. It's still photosynthesizing and it's still full of energy and life force, and you never know what's going to happen. Now some dendrobiums are completely deciduous. This one I have discovered isn't. The new canes retain their leaves all year. The old canes start to shed their leaves, like the best of us, as they age. It is mid-spring in Australia now, and this one has come into full bloom, as you can see, and it's very beautiful. The flowers will only appear on a mature cane. So again, like with many orchids, the key is vegetative growth. The more mature canes you have, the more flower spikes you have. Now I bought this a couple of years ago and it was literally just one sticky cane, which I didn't have much hope for, but look at it now. It's been a very vigorous grower, and I'll come in close and show you. Each spring, along with the flowers, you also get all the new cane growth which is coming in here. So the minute that you start to see the buds appearing and the new growth is when you start watering and feeding it again. And I would be fairly heavy-handed with a liquid fertilizer at this point because you want the growth to be lush and you want the blooms to be healthy. So the canes then will take basically a cycle of growth before they're ready to bloom, basically a year. So all of these new ones here, which you can see have got leaves, are all the canes from last year. So next year they will all be in bloom. And these older ones hopefully should still be with us and blooming as well. The idea being that you end up with these amazing specimen plants of pendulous blooms filled with fragrance, which are just heaven to perceive. So I can't wait. It's a fairly quick grower, and this has already become, I think, quite a great specimen in only a matter of a couple of years. Next year, hopefully, now that there are more mature canes, each of these should be covered in as many blooms as we have here. So I am very much looking forward to that. There's 1, 2 or 3 blooms per spike, and the flower spikes appear on the opposite side of the cane to where the leaf has emerged. So what you should see late winter is a little bump appearing on the cane on the opposite side to the leaf, and then you know that you're in for a flowering treat. And if you have got it outside again, just make sure that it's protected from the elements so that it doesn't get rained on, because what you don't want is it to get too wet during winter, because you won't get flower buds forming. What you will get is lots of cakeys on the end of each cane, which is not a bad thing, I suppose, because they're very easy to propagate and you'll end up with lots more plants, but it will be at the expense of blooms. So try and keep it dry and try and keep it sunny in winter. And there we are, plant lovers, Dendrobium nobile, soft cane dendrobiums. They are very easy. Easy to grow outdoors if you've got the right climate, and certainly easy to grow indoors if you're in a slightly colder environment. However, just make sure that it gets direct sunlight in the winter. So ideally have it in an east-facing window so it'll get some direct sun in the morning. And then a filtered light spot for the rest of the day. As you can see, mine is in a terracotta pot because I am a terracotta pot kind of guy. Ultimately, it doesn't really matter. Whatever pot's going to suit you depending on where you are. The only important thing, as with most orchids, is to have a free draining medium, because dendrobiums are epiphytes and they're usually clinging to trees generally, and so the water is passing from them quite quickly and they absorb what they need as the rest runs away. So try and replicate that. A pretty loose mix if you can. And I have a generic orchid bark mix mixed with a little bit of perlite mixed with a little bit of charcoal, just to keep it nice and loose and the water draining very freely. Fertilizer, I give it a diluted solution of a seaweed based liquid fertilizer every so often, quite a weak dose I have to say. And in early spring I do give it a couple of granules, literally just a couple of granules of a slow release general fertilizer, and place it just on the top of the medium, not near any of the aerial roots though, because you don't want to burn them. It's like gorging on chocolate cake. Watering then, as we've said, keep it dry in winter, and then as the weather warms up, just then start to keep the medium moist-ish, but I'd still keep it on the drier side, but not as dry as in the winter period. And there you are, a fabulous and I think quite easy orchid. Once you get the winter bit right, you're done. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting like. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the box below. I am an amateur and these videos are based totally on my experience of growing these orchids in Melbourne. So I might not be able to answer your question because I won't know, because I don't know much. But anyway, I'm sharing what little knowledge I have and I hope it helps you. Thank you for watching. And next week, I've got a few things in bloom in the garden. So we'll have to see what pops out first. Until then, take care and I'll see you later.